Are you absolutely kidding me right now? What we just witnessed backstage is the most shocking betrayal in WWE history, and I guarantee you're going to be furious when you hear what Triple H just did to Brock Lesnar. This isn't just drama, people, this is career-ending, legacy-destroying warfare that has the entire wrestling world in complete chaos. Stay till the very end because what I'm about to reveal will make you question everything you thought you knew about WWE's power structure. Let me paint you the picture that has every wrestling insider's phone blowing up right now. 3 days ago, Monday Night Raw was supposed to be just another routine show. Michael Cole was doing his job, conducting what should have been a standard backstage interview with Brock Lesnar about his upcoming match. But what happened next was so brutal, so completely unexpected, that even the camera crew stopped rolling in shock. Brock Lesnar, the same man who's dominated WWE for over 2 decades, completely snapped on Michael Cole. And I'm not talking about your typical wrestler getting heated moment. This was a full-blown assault that left Cole unconscious on the concrete floor, blood streaming from his head, while EMTs rushed to the scene like it was a legitimate medical emergency. But here's where it gets absolutely insane, and this is why you need to drop everything and focus on what I'm about to tell you. Triple H didn't just suspend Brock Lesnar. He didn't fine him. He didn't even give him the usual slap on the wrist punishment that main event stars typically get. No, the game did something that has never happened in modern WWE history to a performer of Brock's caliber. He fired him. On the spot. Immediately. Contract terminated. Security escorted out of the building. Done. Think about this for a second. Brock Lesnar has been untouchable in WWE for 20 years. This is the man who ended The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. The beast who manhandled John Cena like he was a rookie. The same Brock Lesnar who could basically write his own checks and show up whenever he felt like it because he was that valuable to the company. And Triple H just threw it all away in one decisive moment. Now, the official story from WWE is that this was about maintaining professionalism and protecting our employees. But my sources inside Stanford are telling me a completely different story, and it's going to blow your mind. This wasn't just about Michael Cole getting attacked. This goes much deeper into a power struggle that's been brewing behind the scenes for months. Here's what WWE doesn't want you to know. Brock Lesnar has been increasingly frustrated with Triple H's creative direction since the game took over from Vince McMahon. Lesnar wanted more control over his storylines, more money per appearance, and basically wanted to operate under the same deal he had when Vince was running things. But Triple H, he said absolutely not. He's trying to establish his authority and prove that nobody is bigger than WWE under his leadership. The Michael Cole incident wasn't random violence. It was the culmination of weeks of tension, arguments, and Brock feeling like his legendary status was being disrespected. My insider tells me that just minutes before the attack, Triple H had personally delivered news to Lesnar that his next contract offer was going to be significantly lower than his previous deal. Brock's response? Well, we all saw what happened to Michael Cole. But here's the part that's going to absolutely enrage you as a wrestling fan. Triple H knew this was coming. His security team had been briefed about potential issues with Lesnar. They could have prevented this entire situation, but instead, they let it play out because it gave Triple H the perfect excuse to do what he'd been wanting to do for months: get rid of Brock Lesnar permanently. The fallout from this decision is absolutely catastrophic for WWE's future. Brock Lesnar wasn't just a performer, he was a legitimate mainstream attraction who brought casual fans and media attention that money can't buy. His UFC crossover appeal, his legitimate athletic credentials, his ability to make any match feel like a legitimate fight, all of that is now walking out the door because Triple H decided to flex his executive muscles. And let's talk about the financial disaster this creates. Brock's merchandise sales were consistently in the top 5 for WWE. His pay-per-view drawing power was legendary. The man could single-handedly sell out arenas in markets where WWE typically struggles. Now all of that revenue is gone because Triple H wanted to send a message about who's really in charge. But the most infuriating part, the hypocrisy is absolutely staggering. When Triple H was an active wrestler, he had his share of backstage incidents, political maneuvering, and controversial moments. Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out on the company multiple times and was welcomed back with open arms. The Rock basically used WWE as a stepping stone to Hollywood and they still celebrate him as family. But Brock Lesnar has one bad night, and he's immediately erased from the company like he never existed. My sources are also telling me that several current WWE superstars are absolutely furious about this decision. They are seeing how quickly the company can turn on even their biggest stars, and it's creating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty in the locker room. If Brock Lesnar isn't safe, then literally nobody is safe under Triple H's regime. Roman Reigns, who has had classic matches with Lesnar, reportedly went straight to Triple H's office after hearing the news. The conversation was described as heated and lengthy. Drew McIntyre, who's been pushing for a major feud with Brock, is now left without what could have been the biggest money match of his career. Even veteran performers are questioning whether Triple H is making emotional decisions instead of business decisions. The timing of this couldn't be worse for WWE. With AEW constantly trying to poach talent and create competition, losing someone of Brock's caliber sends a terrible message to the wrestling industry. It tells every performer that WWE's loyalty only goes one direction, and that no matter how much money you've made for the company, you're always one incident away from being completely expendable. But here's where this story takes an even more dramatic turn. Within hours of Brock's termination, his representatives reached out to Tony Khan at AEW. Now, I'm not saying a deal is definitely happening, but imagine the absolute chaos if the Beast incarnate showed up on Wednesday Night Dynamite next week. The wrestling world would literally explode. AEW has the financial resources to make Brock an offer he can't refuse. They've proven they are willing to pay top dollar for former WWE stars, and landing Brock Lesnar would be the biggest signing in company history. It would legitimize AEW as a true competitor to WWE and potentially shift the entire balance of power in professional wrestling. Triple H's decision to fire Brock might have just handed AEW their biggest weapon against WWE. Instead of keeping a potential problem in-house and dealing with it professionally, the game may have created his company's biggest threat. That's not just bad management, that's potentially company-altering stupidity. The medical update on Michael Cole adds another layer of controversy to this entire situation. While Cole is expected to make a full recovery, the extent of his injuries was initially downplayed by WWE. He suffered a concussion, several bruises, and required multiple stitches. This wasn't just a push or a shove, this was a legitimate assault that could have had much more serious consequences. Do you think WWE should press criminal charges against Brock, or should this stay as an internal wrestling business matter? This one's going to be controversial. But the most shocking revelation came from my source who was in the room when Triple H made the termination decision. Apparently, several board members and executives tried to talk him out of it. They argued that Brock was too valuable, that the situation could be handled with suspension and anger management, that completely cutting ties was an overreaction that would cost the company millions. Triple H's response was reportedly ice cold. "I don't care how much money he's made us in the past. I care about the culture I'm building for the future. Brock Lesnar is done with this company, effective immediately." That statement reveals everything about Triple H's current mindset. He's not just running WWE, he's trying to completely reshape it in his own image. And anyone who doesn't fit that vision, regardless of their star power or revenue generation, is going to be eliminated. It's a bold strategy that's either going to revolutionize WWE or destroy everything that made the company successful. The wrestling community's reaction has been absolutely explosive. Social media is divided between people praising Triple H for taking a stand and others calling him an absolute fool for letting Brock Lesnar walk away. Wrestling podcasts are dedicating entire episodes to analyzing this decision. Even mainstream sports media is covering this story because of Brock's crossover appeal. Final question for you: in 5 years, will we look back at this as Triple H's smartest decision or his biggest mistake? Drop your prediction below. What happens next could determine the entire future of WWE under Triple H's leadership. If the company thrives without Brock Lesnar, it validates the game's vision of a new WWE culture. But if ratings drop, pay-per-view buy rates decline, and AEW uses Brock to damage WWE's market share, then this decision will be remembered as the moment Triple H's ego cost his company everything. The wrestling world is watching, the fans are choosing sides, and Brock Lesnar's next move could change everything we thought we knew about the business. This isn't just a story about one incident backstage, this is about power, respect, loyalty, and the price of doing business in modern WWE. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because this story is far from over, and when the next chapter drops, you're going to want to be the first to know about it.